Welcome to Street Scene Power Hour. I'm Greg Roten with Steve's son, Rick Guerrera. That'd be Steve's dad. And then Corey's dad, Larry Ward.
Yay! And then today we have
Corey Ward.
Corey, yay!
You're way too excited for this, Rick. We in the car realm and the motorcycle realm, and we go to a lot of car shows in this area, but actually Larry joined Rick and I out, and we ventured out back to the 50s last weekend in Newcastle down at Cascade Park.
Yeah. That was a nice show. You know that the weather was perfect, 74, 75. It's just a neat setting. I've never really been in there before. And you got the creek going through there, and you got the hills, and you got the winding roads and everything. It was really cool. I liked it.
If you're not familiar with Back to the 50s, they started this in 1983. And I used to go, before I could even drive, I would go down with my parents' friends or buddies' friends or whatever, and it was held down in downtown Newcastle, right in the center of Newcastle. And they would burn tire until it just filled the whole town with smoke. And it was great because the police are out watching. They didn't care. And, it was great. And then they had some complaints. They moved it out to old Trojo's out in 422. And they had an accident out there. So they moved it down to Cascade Park, and that's where it is now. And we had a great time. It's holds a special place in my heart. And we were just joined by Bill. How you doing, Bill?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Welcome, Bill.
Man, most presidents and CEOs don't know how to do this stuff,
They have everybody do it for them, right?
That's right.
Larry, I'm just following your lead.
Oh,
yeah, buddy.
Well, that could be a problem if you're following our lead. So,
the blind leading the blind, huh?
Yeah. Let's see. Oh, we're talking about. We'll get to obviously Bill's from Newcastle too, so. We're just talking about Back to the 50s. Rick, Larry, and I went down there and joined Back to the 50s and taped a show down there. And it's, like I said, it's near and dear to my heart because I spent many years down there at Back to the 50s when it started. And, it's a great setting, Cascade Park. If you get a chance next year to go join it and check it out, because it's not crowded for car-wise. They've got them lined up. They've got it set up real nice. And really had a good time on that one. I can't wait. I usually don't look forward to editing these anymore because it takes so long, but I am looking forward to this one because it's a little different.
There were some different cars there. We got to interview some people, and I fell in love with a couple cars. So
well,
that's what's good. Yeah.
And what was the scooter, Larry? What was the scooter?
The Lambretta.
150.
Okay. Yeah. She looked familiar. I remember her years ago. I had known her for a long time, but I couldn't place her face.
What's nice about Larry interviewing that girl on that scooter? He knew everything about it. And if I would have interviewed, I would probably interviewed her because it was different. I wouldn't have had that good of an interview at all because I would just hit the basics on it. I don't know anything about that. I thought it was a Vespa. Yeah.
Oh.
Well, Rick, when you're on the radio for 21 years, you get pretty good at knowing a lot of things about everything.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just not great at any one thing.
But it was an Italian scooter, right?
Yeah, Lambretta.
The
other Italian scooter.
The other.
Actually, I think Lambrettas are a little bit more of a higher end scooter. They're desirable. They're hard to find. You can find a Vespa and they're getting restored all over the place, but Lambrettas are hard to find.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we've got, let's touch on a couple things before we get into our guests here. What's coming up, Larry, what do you got coming up motorcycle wise on that end of the spectrum, so to speak?
Well, if I can get my charging to work on my FLHTC, I'm going to head up to Geneva this Saturday. They're having a huge get together. Bill, you might know the name of it. My buddies are all telling me about it. It's not like Roar on the Shore, but it's something like that. Bill, are you familiar with that?
I am, and I can't think what it's called. It's an annual event.
Right.
It's an annual event on the lake.
It's big. I heard it's an all-day thing, so I plan on going up early in the morning and staying all day and just having a good time. But that's coming up this week, and then in 2 weeks, there's a big rally down in West Virginia called Falling Colors. That's down in Lewisburg, West Virginia, which is a little ways down. It's a couple. If you take 16 through West Virginia, you'll spend all day getting there. But that's usually a fun kind of ride, and you never know what to expect. It could be nice and warm, or it could be chilly like it was, and I had to buy extra clothes last year to get back. So
Thunder on the Strip is what it's called. I just looked it up. It's Thunder on the Strip.
That's it.
Yep. And
That's right. Yep.
15th annual Thunder on the Strip up in Geneva. And again, anything in Geneva is awesome. So, you go
it's
up.
Very nice setting. Yeah. When is that again?
Saturday. This Saturday.
This coming Saturday. Okay.
Yep.
Which
The
is, what, the 8th? Or no, that's
the 11th.
the 11th. Sorry about that. Yeah, so September 11th.
9/11.
And so anything else coming up towards the end of the month or beginning in October, Larry?
Yeah, usually right around the 6th or 7th, it'll be the first full weekend in October. I'll be heading to Birmingham, Alabama for Barber Motorsports Vintage Days. And then right after that, I'll start my trek over to Daytona for a Biketoberfest in right after that. It usually takes me, because I don't get out of the track till about 6 o'clock Sunday night. That's about a 300-mile hop, so I don't like going all the way through the night on Route 10. So I'll lay over around 11 or 12 down in Dothan, Alabama, and then make the rest of the hop in the morning.
All right.
I'll be gone for 11 days because I don't have to go to work.
For the rest of us that actually are still working, and haven't retired yet, have a few choice words for you because we're a little jealous. That's okay. The time's coming. Rick, what's coming up here for you, me, or
Well, we got that Napa know-how show coming up on the 18th of this month down at Firestone Farms. Mm-hmm. If you've never been down to Firestone Farms, I would suggest you go down there. It is absolutely gorgeous. They're putting big bucks in down there. That's in Columbiana County, and they keep adding on. And I'm really anxious to see this show coming up here.
Yeah, I remember from last year. I didn't go to it, but my son went to it last year. He loved it. And they are expanding Firestone Farms. It used to be farms. I mean, there was nothing there. And now they have it. It's like a nostalgic looking town and down on Columbiana. It's gorgeous. They're expanding that.
Looks like a lot of lawyers and doctors are investing a lot of money in down there. It's just absolutely gorgeous. Yeah. We went down to the restaurant there. I can't remember the name of the restaurant. The food was excellent there. And then Beth and I, my girlfriend, we went outside and there was a concert there, and they have a really nice setup there. And if you got kids, they got like a playground for kids. They got a tennis court. They got bean bags. They got everything out there. And it's really, really cool situation. And you got to see the house behind it too. I won't tell you about it, but it's like a half a house. It's really weird. It's really weird. Hey, then on the 25th, we got that Rooster Rally.
Yeah, we were there last year, and that was good.
The Canfield Fair, and then plus they're going to have that monster truck thing coming up here on the same night. So we got a full day that day. So
that's all at the Canfield Fair Grounds. So you can head to the Rooster Rally in the morning, get your tickets, and go to the monster truck show featuring Joey Sylvester that we had on.
Street Scene's going to be at both of those.
Yes, we will. We'll be there.
And Greg's going to feature that monster truck rally on Armstrong cable. All right, the whole thing, right?
Yeah, we'll that'll be tape delayed, but we will have that, and that's something new for us. We really haven't had anything like that on the channel.
That's exciting.
It's cool. Yeah, I'm excited to have that.
That's big bucks, and it's just pretty neat. It's pretty cool.
I'll tell you what. Let's start off with Corey here real quick. Corey is in charge of the David Ed swap meets, and if you have a car or motorcycle, you're gonna need parts, and you know where to go to get them. You know, if you're looking for some rare and, you know, parts and vintage parts and even modern parts for your car, or motorcycle, or truck, or whatever you've got. Heck, I've even seen antiques out there. And, you know, Corey, touch on what's out there at the David Ed swap meets a little bit.
It's something for everybody's out there. I mean, if you're looking for parts, if you're looking for accessories, you're looking to buy a car, a motorcycle, trailer, anything with, you know, a title, we have for sale at our buy and sell corral. Just there's something for everybody. The fairgrounds, when I tell you, is full of vendors. It legitimately is full of vendors. You know.
Okay. And you know, you kind of took the reins a couple years ago, wasn't it, Corey?
You know what? I took over in 2019. David Ed retired.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like, you know, baptism by fire, you know, and I did the one show in Canton in March, and then obviously the pandemic hit. So then we weren't back up and running again until the following July, you know,
Okay.
But yeah, it was fall of 2019. Yep.
Okay. And any additions, or you just kind of, you know, David Ed kind of seemed like they tweaked the whole thing perfectly to where it runs out. So it looks like you had a good base to start with when you took it. So
I assure you, I kept that base.
yeah.
That base is still, you know, Betty's still with the company. Kristen from the office is still with the company. The 10 runners, spotters, it's like nothing changed.
Yeah.
Everything's still the same, still the same name, still the same great event, still the same philosophies of that event. You know, so nothing's really, you know, changed about it. We have, you know, added on obviously some sponsors, Sweeney Chevrolet, which is our title sponsor, which owns Pace Performance, which is a huge supporter of Dave and Ed's, and we can't thank them enough. They sell engines, all kind of motorsports parts for your Chevrolet, you know, just a ton of great parts, as well as Summit Racing, you know, is on that with us as well, very heavily.
Hey, Corey, if I wanted to get involved with that, what do I do? Who do I contact?
You can call the office. In Canton, the number is 330-477-8506, or you can always email info@superautoevents.com.
And you have plenty of spots, right? Plenty of spaces.
Yes. For the September show, which is the 17th through the 19th, all we have left is on the track. So the whole infield of the fairgrounds is gone, and we're onto the track now.
Wow.
So it's so when you get into those numbers, we're at about 3,500 vendors. So I mean, it's starting to get pretty full.
Now, go ahead, Rick. Sorry.
Say if I wanted to get a spot there. Say if I have a lot of stuff, can I get 3 or 4 or 5 different spots there?
Absolutely. The spots are 15 by 30s. So what you do is when you're onto the track, the spotter will just spread out 15. When you want 30 feet, no problem. We'll spray another 15 for you. I mean, we have semi trucks that are out there that are 65 feet. So, but the nice thing about being on the track is then you're getting the garage guy out, the guy that wants to clean out his garage, the guy that wants to bring some parts or accessories that are very hard to find. I mean, and it works out. And that's what a lot of the spectators, you know, especially for the spring and fall shows, they come out for that, because that's where, you know, a lot of the hard to find items are, you know, especially when guys come out cleaning out the garages.
Do you guys have any restrictions at all?
Within reason, I guess. Like, sure.
Like what you can't sell, you know?
Not really. I mean, we really don't, to be honest with you. I mean, I've seen some, you know, toys out there, toy car things. I mean, you know, obviously, you know, toys are acceptable. I mean, for the most part, it's cars, but the same aspect, you know, you have motor clothes, you have, you know, shirts, you have, you know, all kind of different things. So it's not just, you know, parts. I mean, you know, there's clothing, there's, you know, food vendors. We have about 35 food vendor stands and anything that you can think of food wise. So you're taking not one specific, you know, part or anything like that, but you're throwing as many eggs against the wall to see what's going to stick. Some people like to come out for their fair food and enjoy a nice day at the Canfield Fair Grounds. You know, some are looking for, you know, clothing, some are looking for parts, some are looking for toys, cars. You know, it's just, there's not just one specific item out there. There's a wide variety of items for people.
Okay, yeah, because if you, and again, if you haven't been to David Ed's, and being car guys, I can't believe you haven't. But if you haven't, if you know if the vendors are spreading out into the track in the fall, you know it's big, because you know, normally, you know, that happens in the springtime when you go out, and then the track's pretty much closed off so at the summer show in the fall. And I was kind of excited you said that, Corey, because that is huge when you're spreading out in the track, because there's I get more interested in seeing stuff in the track, because you're right, the people that are cleaning out their junk, you know, everybody else's treasure out there in the in the track area.
You're right.
I like that. I could spend twice as much time out in the track area looking for stuff than in the fairgrounds itself.
There are so many people that go to the track. We actually open the entrance onto the track. So when you come off of Fairground Boulevard and you pull in behind the grandstands, there's actually an entrance where you can walk right onto the track, a gate to get in. So you don't even need to go to the fairgrounds. You can go right in through the track gate, which obviously, if you wanted to get into the grounds, will take you there as well. But when you're into the track, you know you're doing something right, you know, and we're just obviously continuing and building on that. The May show we had this past spring was one of the largest I've ever seen.
I've never seen that many people at a show ever.
Yes, it was pretty good. Yeah.
Is that your biggest show usually? The first one in May?
The first one, May, is the biggest. The fall one is a close second. And again, it's weather dependent. I mean, the May show is busy regardless, but it's all weather dependent. Like now it's starting to cool down a little bit. You're in the 70s, you know, which works out really well. But if you get rain, or if it gets too hot, then it's going to dull down a little bit, but it still draws. I mean, whether it's, you know, rain or whether it's, you know, it's still a very nice, you know, show to be a part of.
So for people that don't know, that's what, a 3-day affair, right? Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Yes, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Yep. And we do it 3 times in Canfield, one in late April, early May. The second is in July. And then the third is in September, you know, the second week of September.
Okay. And if you can't find parts there, you can go to Hershey or Carlisle after that, right? But more likely, you're going to find the parts there. You know? Yeah,
it's nice because it's like a routing tour. You'll be at Carlisle then in the spring, and then the weekend after Carlisle's us. Then after us, you're going somewhere else. So there's like a routing tour that people go around. So it works out pretty good. Excellent. You know, yes, we all work together. That's one of the nice things. So,
Well, Larry, introduce Bill, and we'll get a little bit information from Bill.
Well, it's my pleasure to welcome longtime Two-Wheel Power Hour motorcycle show sponsor and personal friend, Bill Baumberger from Newcastle Harley-Davidson. Hey, Bill, thanks for stopping by the show today.
Yeah, thanks, Larry. Thanks, guys.
I'll tell you what, the neat thing about Newcastle Harley-Davidson is that it's a lot different from a lot of the different shops that you see nowadays, where 4 or 5 bankers come together, create a gigantic thing, don't know anything about motorcycles, just know something about dollars and cents and profit and loss. But you won't find that at Newcastle Harley-Davidson. You'll find a guy, Bill Bomberger, that came in there as a sales guy, and over the years worked his way up and then got an opportunity to buy the shop. It is most like an old-time shop that would be in the 60s or 70s, where you walk in, people greet you. They don't expect you to buy something. They just expect you to say hi and what's going on. And it's just a good old time. It's one of the best shops ever. Some of the best mechanics. So you take your bike there, whether it's a Buell or a Harley, and you get it fixed right the first time. So Bill's been around a long time. And Bill, tell us a little bit about your career with Harley-Davidson. And it's very unique how you acquired ownership of the franchise.
Well, so it'll be 40 years, which is hard to believe. It'll be 4 years in January. Yeah. So I got in back in the shovelhead cast iron Sportster days. And actually what I did was I found an old mom and pop store, a little 30 by 60 building, back in the late 70s, early 80s. And that's what I did. I scored a Harley dealership back then, which was no easy task then. And Harley, of course, was on the verge of bankruptcy, but the rest is history. They turned it around, with belt drives and 5-speeds and Evo motors. And now it's like one of the greatest things in the world. So I'm still enjoying it.
Well, you look at over the 40 years, and like you said, you saw it at its very worst, where AMF almost into the brink of things. The ownership, bunch of guys come together and create an ownership, buy it back. So as we go forward and you look over the past umpteen years, what are some of the highlights that you can think about from a personal standpoint or from a Harley-Davidson standpoint? Maybe those two are the same.
Well, I don't know. Personally, it's just, just like you were going on to Barber, then on to Daytona, like I still try and hit all the big events. I still ride daily, and I ride to work every day. I still take my trips. I go out west a whole lot. Yeah. And I got to give it up to Harley. Like, I mean it when I say, like, I have a lot of dealer friends that aren't happy with the Barnes show. They're not happy with Harley. They think there are way too many corporate things going on. But for those last 40 years, all I've ever done is kind of paid attention to what Harley has said, they want you to do or they'd like you to do. And it always seems to end up being a success story.
Well, let me tell you about a success story Harley-Davidson has on their hands right now. As you know, I've got BMWs, Hondas, and a Harley. So I ride a lot and go to different brand rallies and that. And I was down at the BMW RA rally in Maggie Valley, North Carolina. And I come upon a guy that had a Pan American. Now, this is kind of unique because when I talked to this guy, he had some money because he had like 4 or 5 high-end bikes. One of them was a GS. And I said, what do you think of the Pan American now that you've owned it for a while? And he goes, I got to tell you, and a GS, a BMW GS is a world-class handling bike, do everything. He said this bike in its first year absolutely is rivaling the GS. He said the electronics on the bike are spot on. He said when you come to a stoplight, it automatically lowers to your seat height so that you're not tippy-toe. When you take off, it raises up. But he said the handling is tremendous. And he said it's light and it handles good. And now I read that Harley-Davidson has sold out all of their Pan Americans.
Right. Pretty for the 2021 model year.
That's incredible. And now they're going to come out with a Sportster that is totally so different than what you're used to seeing. And at first I wasn't real sure, but it really grew on me pretty quick. I think it's going to be a winner with that new, what is it called? What's that new motor? Freedom?
Revolution Max. Revolution Max. Right. So, they're old, they're old twins, they were originally called the Evolution, and now this is the Revolution. And it's a 2-bike platform, and I think that motor is going to be the platform for a lot of models coming out in the future. And
absolutely.
Back to your comment about the GS, it's really interesting because Harley kind of told us they knew they needed to get it right, and we kind of warned them they needed to as well, because as you know, the Buells came and went. I'm a personal friend of Eric Buell. I love those bikes, but the Buells came and went, the V-Rod came and went, and now the Livewire's even come and gone. It's its own product. It's called Livewire by Harley, but those are brand new products that Harley came out with, and obviously the tried and true didn't appreciate them. So, the writing was on the wall as to whether or not this America, was going to hit that point, and it did. They're sold out, and it's a great model, and everybody's really happy with it.
Here's what the guy told me. He said, I took it for a test drive, and he said, Larry, I liked it so much that I immediately put an order down and bought one. He said, my only concern is that enough people get to ride this bike, because if they do, they'll know about it and they'll buy it and they'll spread the word, and Harley will build more. He said, my concern is that not enough people will have an opportunity to try this bike out. I don't want it to go exactly like you said by the wayside. If you remember, one of the best Sportsters that they made only had a 2-year run was the XR 1200X.
Mhm.
And they ran those damn things at Indy. And boy, I'll tell you what a following, one of the best bikes, but it just never, it became something the Bar and Shield embraced, especially the Sportster Bar and Shield guys.
Yeah. No, you're completely right. And so, hey, on that note, all you guys, we kept our demo still. Almost every dealer sold their demo because we're all sold out. Again, for the 2021 model, you have to put an order in for one, but we still have ours, and we think we might finally put it up for sale. But before we do, like, seriously, like, grab a helmet and come on over to the store and take one for a ride. We let everybody ride that thing. It's so fun.
Yeah.
It's a great bike.
And what's surprising is how light the weight of that bike is. It looks like a bigger, heavier bike, but it's not. It's not much heavier than the R1150R Roadster that I have, which is a BMW Roadster. In fact, it might even be lighter. I'm thinking I'm around 525 pounds. I think that bike's right around there.
I believe so, yeah. And the power's incredible. The power that engine puts out is incredible. It's a ton of fun.
Harley is committed to coming out with X number of new bikes over the next couple of years. And, at first I thought it was kind of like a joke. Yeah. But now I think they're really committed to this. They've come out with 2 exceptional models. That Pan American, I mean, that was like years in development. I remember at the motorcycle show in Cleveland, they had one in a glass case. You couldn't even sit on it, remember?
Right.
Well, and that could have been that it was all out of clay, who knows what, but it's amazing what they're doing. They're reinventing themselves. And I think this is going to be a good thing for the future of Harley-Davidson.
Well, yeah, and here we are right out of COVID, and like lack of production and lack of parts and lack of chips for trucks and cars and what have you. Sure. And here they've produced 2 more models, which is pretty impressive.
Let's talk a little bit about your dealership. And like I said, I've got high praise because you're one of the few Harley dealerships that are owned by 27 bankers. You're a guy that worked your way up. You bought into it. You've lived a Bar and Shield lifestyle. And so tell our listeners, if they stop down to Newcastle Harley-Davidson, what the experience is going to be about. And if you've got some bikes on the floor you want to talk about, I'd like to hear about it.
Well, so I will admit we have a nice selection of 21 still, all new 2021s. So, again, back to COVID, motorcycling and motorcycle dealers, we became, we became popular again, just like boats and motorhomes and what have you.
Right.
So many of my friends were, we closed, and some of my friends were like, oh no, what's going to happen now? And we opened right back up again. And, we became a recreational vehicle dealer. So things are great right now. Like, things are stupendously busy. And, we have 2 live events coming up this month. We have more used bikes than we've had in a long time, only because, again, the market's flourishing. So yeah, anybody can stop in anytime they want and ride any motorcycle they want. All our new bikes are PDI'd for the floor, pre-delivery inspection, and all our used bikes are ready to go as well. So if you have a motorcycle license and there's just something you want to check out and ride, feel free to stop in and do that.
Well, I'm definitely going to come down and try the Pan American. Now, what are the hours down there? And, if somebody wants to get on the website and check out the inventory.
Yeah, that's the best thing to do, www.newcastlehd.com. So closed Sundays and Mondays, Wednesdays till 8, the rest of the week till 6, open at 10, Saturdays 9 to 3. We're always there. And Larry, you need to come down. We need to throw another event.
Oh man, we should. And as Corey Ward's dad, I'd highly encourage Corey Ward to come and get a Harley-Davidson.
My riding days are over, not
I'm not kidding you, Bill. I was out at that Back to the 50s and people were pointing and going, hey, there's Corey Ward's dad. I don't even have a name, for God's sake.
You've reached celebrity status when you're Corey Ward's dad.
Yes.
I'm really proud of him. He does a terrific job. So I guess that's the sincerest form of flattery, as being his father. So good deal.
Go ahead, Rick.
How are the values of the Harleys holding up right now?
Real good. Again, like ever since COVID, it's very, very strange. Like we buy at high NADA trade, and we sell it retail, and it's a seller's market. I mean, I hate to say that as a dealer, but it truly is a seller's market. When people call us and say, I'm done riding, or I had, I got some pandemic money and I made a mistake and bought a motorcycle, I'm not going to ride it. Like, I actually said, look, I'm definitely a buyer. We're a buyer, but go ahead and try and sell it outright as well, because it's a seller's market. It's very strange what the pandemic did for some businesses. Like I have friends that are in the laundromat business. I have a friend who's a tailor, and they're actually almost out of business because nobody's working anymore in coats and ties.
Right.
But again, if you sell motorcycles, or you sell boats, you sell motorhomes, you can't get enough because people want to get out still, which is, it took a pandemic. It's kind of interesting.
No, that's one positive thing that came out of that pandemic.
Sure.
Yes.
I got a quick question. Well, actually a two-parter, I guess. For me, I'm more into the car end of it. I'm still learning about motorcycles a lot, because that's where Larry comes in to, teach me a little bit about motorcycles and that. But I always think of Harleys as panheads, shovel heads, and that kind of realm of, that's what I think of as a Harley. Now, do you get a lot of people having kind of my closed mindset of coming in looking for a Harley? And, is that going to kind of continue? Or like you said, I think you indicated that it's going to change a little bit.
Yeah, it's interesting. So Harley has new management out there. And again, some dealers aren't happy with the new management because they're probably too forward thinking, but we have a hard time getting young people in. I mean, we all know about young people and widgets and gadgets and cell phones, but slowly but surely, maybe it's this new motor, maybe it's these two new motorcycles, like slowly but surely that seems to be coming around again. There's a large fear in the motor company, that us middle-aged guys and older are going out, but what else we're doing? We're selling an awful lot of trikes. We're selling a ton of trikes.
Okay.
They become mainstream now.
Yeah.
I'm shocked. I'm blown away at that,
We see a lot of them, tri-glides.
Okay.
Right. And that's just the guy that can't quite hold his bike up with his wife anymore. Or maybe he's had a hip or a knee replacement or something.
Or somebody like me that can't.
Even I used to scout. It's kind of funny. You're never going to fall over on a trike.
No, that's my type, because man, I'll dump. As little as I've ridden motorcycles, I tend to dump them. So you don't ever want me near that V-Star or the new bike out there, because I'll completely destroy it. Real quick question too. Trades. What do you take on trades? I know there's some dealers that take about anything, but I'm sure there's got to be a limit to something.
We will, of sorts. I have friends who have those. I know they take parakeets and they take birds and animals and horse trailers and everything else. We'll gladly take any motorcycle on trade. And what we do is we call the auction. We call it National Power Sports Auction. They give us a buy price. We give the customer that same buy price. They write us a check and come pick it up. That's if it's something we don't want. But back to post-pandemic, if it's got two wheels, we put it on the floor and sell it. It's pretty interesting.
Nice. Who's your biggest competition right now? There's so many bikes out there. Is it the Indian? Is it BMW? Is it Honda, Kawasaki?
No, it's like, and I don't mean to sound this way, but it's nobody at all. We really are on our own little separate realm. Indians out there, and I'm very good friends with a couple of Indian dealers, and I have lots of customers that own both Indians and Harleys. But they're not hitting the numbers they're supposed to be hitting, and Harley doesn't just rest on their laurels, but I will give it up to Harley. They've got their 120 years in, and it means something. It's a good business.
Well, let me say this: when I go touring around the country, I'll count 10 Harleys to one other brand. So if I was going touring, there's a Harley-Davidson dealer just about anywhere I'm going to go. And I can tell you that just from seeing the number of Harleys out on the road, that I can tell you that Harley is probably outselling everybody in the market on brand new units. I wouldn't doubt that.
Okay.
Hey, Bill,
that's very true.
I'm gonna have to jump out of here. I've got a granddaughter that's running a race, and it's probably a half an hour away. So I asked permission to leave a little bit early, but I'd like you to stay hooked up because I know Rick and Greg and maybe even Corey. Corey Ward, of course, might have some. But
Larry's
as always,
son, Corey, right?
Larry's son, Corey,
Yeah, we'll just start. All right, Corey's dad.
Thank you very much,
Hey,
Bill.
so,
Stay tuned.
Hey, so guys, believe it or not, I'm gonna get
Corey Ward, of course.
a bike night in my area that I go to every Tuesday, and I'm gonna split and go jump on I'm only in my truck today because I was sweeping my parking lot. So
Hey, let us know if you're doing anything exciting with a bike show or something, because we're always looking for something. Street Scene's always looking for something to record. So especially with the bikes, we haven't really done anything with bikes lately. So
Larry left anyway. Yeah.
Okay.
I'll do that. I'll stand up to Larry on that. We'll do that. But I'm going to sign off too and go to a bike night and hobnob with my customers.
Thank you very much.
All right, thanks, Bill.
Great. Thanks, guys. Great seeing you. Thanks so much.
Nice seeing you. You know what? I want to touch on. I remember the Harley-Davidson dealership when he bought it, because again, if you don't know where the Newcastle Harley-Davidson is, if you're going out towards Butler and 422, it's out that way between Newcastle and Route 79 there. It's right there. And I remember when I was a young kid, but I remember that was just a little hole in the wall when he bought that place. It was just a building and it was there. It was one of those types of places. But if you go out there now, it's fronted with Harley-Davidson. It's nice. It's a small shop. So, you know what, Corey, you've got a background in kind of, what is your interest? You lean towards motorcycle, bikes, cars, you've got it in your blood. Let's put it that way.
There isn't one specific, thing that I enjoy. I remember, the late 90s, me and my buddies would get on our crotch rockets and we go to Quaker Steak and Lube in Sharon.
Mm-hmm.
Now on a Wednesday night in the 90s, that was the place to be.
I remember.
I mean, you had thousands of motorcycles, and I don't even know if that still goes on, to be honest with you.
Rick,
I mean,
you got
it. I think they do have a bike night there still. Yeah, they have them all over now. They have them in Austin Town. I think they have them in Boardman. They have them at all three Quaker Steak and Lube. So
I gotcha.
They're different nights, different weeks. So
I gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But for specific events, I enjoy all of them equally. One would be, a piece of something that I really enjoy doing, or, it's just not one, genre, one, type of event that I like doing type thing. So,
I was going to say, for Dave and Ed's, what are your future plans? Just to kind of keep it the way it's running. Do you have anything that you'd like to add on to the Dave and Ed's?
I'm into this now probably 2 years. We started investing in swap meets and stuff. We're going to expand. That's in, the works. We have 2 in Canton and 3 shows in Canfield. And obviously we're going to be looking at other markets. Canfield is obviously, our backyard. A lot of traction with, car parts warehouses out there now. They're on site, you can talk to them. They have giveaways, prizes. Advanced Auto Parts is there now. Pace Performance, Summit Racing's coming out. So it's kind of like, enhancing the customer's experience by not only getting the parts that they want, but, also supporting local business, but, seeing something that you normally wouldn't see at a swap meet where, Car Parts Warehouse, which is a national company, they're in Canfield and they're out there with Mopar giveaways and all kind of other things. The buy and sell corral, we opened it up to not just cars, but also motorcycles, ATVs, pretty much anything with the title. We've sold boats, trailers, all kind of things.
Wait a second. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
It's very cost effective. It's $25 per item, and then you get a weekend pass. So I mean, it's we have a free notary on site right in the area there, so they'll do that for free.
See, I didn't even know that. That's well worth it just to go sell some stuff.
And I cannot begin to tell you how many items we sell at that buy and sell corral. And I mean, it gets upwards up to, there was a $70,000 Camaro that was sold in the May show.
Wow.
Just because I, touched base, and it's like, man, I did a title work for, this Camaro, and I was like, wow, that's, it's good, but it brings people out again, not just if you're looking for something to buy, whether it's a vehicle, whether it's a motorcycle, whatnot, but if you're also looking for parts, I mean, there's just many different, areas to the swap meet,
Where's the car corral going to be located at this year? Is it the same spot?
Yeah, it's on the pavement, right off Leffingwell Road. Because of the new building in Canfield, we had to move that, to where it's on pavement now in that blacktop area. So any items that are for sale are in that area now.
Are you going to be using that new building at all?
Actually, we put an extra 177 spots going down that road around it. So we filled those.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It would be kind of hard to move the existing 177 we've sold that have renewed. So you can't get into the building going around them. So if we either add on another Canfield show, say in November or something along those lines, then that would definitely be something I would look at.
Indoor show.
Sure. And an indoor type show like we do in Canton. But I mean, the possibility is always there. And it's nice to have the facility. So it's, yeah.
No, a number of years ago, Dave and Ed's had a car auction there. Greg and I covered it. Matter of fact, have you ever thought of that?
I have not, to be honest with you. It was just kind of like I said, baptism by fire. One day in 2019, it was, hey, on Friday, you're going to do parts pickup. So people are seeing me doing parts pickup and they're like, what's he doing? And so it kind of morphed into, and then, like I said, the pandemic hit. So we are now just getting back to normal, some type of normalcy where we were, I was in Canton running the March show, and a week later, everybody was down. I remember the IX Center, they were setting up for their show up there, and they were all set up, ready to rock and roll.
And then
done.
It just shut down, yeah.
Done. And we were a week prior to that, so it was just kind of like, wow, it's changed a lot of things, I'll be honest with you. A lot of things. I mean, everybody wants to get out and this, that, and the other. I get that, but for live events and for people going outside, people are so cautious. They truly are. It's
well, you know what, not to get on a COVID thing here, but
absolutely sure.
It's something you got to watch. I mean, that's how all our lives have changed. We have to watch out for it, even if you're vaccinated, non-vaccinated. It doesn't matter. You're still gotta take your precautions. But yeah, I mean, if you're out at swap meet or a concert or something, you gotta watch what you're doing, and
sure,
change.
We were the only company we ran last July.
I remember. Yeah,
we and it was. But I have to tell you too, for the business that we did do, the food vendors that were out,
yeah,
they needed it. Or
sure,
our swap meet vendor, I mean, that's their livelihood. They needed it. So it's kind of like all of this pressure, and to do it correctly and do it safely also. So the Canfield Fair Grounds has always been phenomenal working with us, and hey, with best practices. I mean, they had cleaning people on staff the whole time.
Yeah.
From open to close for our show. Wow. Always wiping things down, always, and I have to tell you, we felt pretty good about it. I mean, the vendors, they made money. It kept them afloat. The food vendors, which we use all local food vendors, concessionaires, it kept them going. I mean, it was, a very touch and go thing for a lot of people, and just getting off the Canfield Fair. I mean, I read there was 27, 30 vendors not there, because of whether health, whether COVID, whether whatever it was.
Yeah, it's one of those things where I know Bill was talking about flourishing. The motorcycle business is booming. Housing market's huge. And then then there's restaurants. And these people are out there killing themselves trying to make a livelihood. So remember when you go out and support your local restaurants, because they're hurting. And these people in, these waiters and waitresses, they're hurting. And, it makes me sad to see, we and my son were going out to Wendy's the other day, and I forgot the dining rooms are closing at 5 o'clock, and that's a scary thing.
Mhm.
Yeah. Or how would you like to be a manager where your restaurant's closed Mondays and Tuesdays, so you have no weekends off because you have no staff, so you close Monday and Tuesdays. Well, those are your days off. You're working every other day then until you can get staffed up. It's
remember your waiters and waitresses. Make sure you tip them out there.
Yeah, really.
I know I've upped my tips because they're killing themselves out there.
Mhm.
Everybody in that business is killing themselves trying to make a living, and it's it's a scary thing.
Corey, do you have any restrictions with the state for the swap meet?
No, not really. As of now, you mean with COVID or whatnot?
Yeah, with COVID.
It's laxed a lot. Like I said, I mean, as far as, obviously I'm not in the business of tell somebody what to do. If you want to wear a mask, by all means, if you feel safe wearing a mask, wear a mask. If you don't want to wear one, that's fine too. We have sanitizer stations throughout the fairgrounds. There's hot and cold water where you can wash your hands in the restrooms. As far as that goes, I mean, trying to make it as safe as possible for people, and also giving them obviously the freedom to let them decide what they would like to do,
I noticed, I was at the fairgrounds yesterday, my girlfriend and I, and I'll tell you, the restrooms were super clean. They had people in there cleaning them up. They don't have any towels anymore. They had those blowers in there, and I said, whoa, this is nice,
Phenomenal job. And actually at the May and July shows, we actually you get goodie bags at the entrance, some Summit Racing goodie bags where there's coupons, hats, and stuff. We also included a hand sanitizer for you. So in each bag, the first 4,000 people through the gates got a free hand sanitizer, as well. So it worked out, So
let's talk about real quick. Let's talk about these. How much do the tickets cost?
It's $7 per person per day, or a weekend pass is $10. Children 12 and under are free. Free parts pickup. Yeah,
that's a bargain. I mean, you can't beat that.
It really is. But the nice thing is you're seeing families coming out. You're seeing, so I mean, you could not know anything about parts, accessories, or whatnot. You can come out and spend the day and have a blast.
And you can eat.
You can eat.
Yeah, you're paying $7 to get in, or $10 for a weekend pass.
Yep.
Yeah, that's
you could see Larry at one of the gates helping his son out, being a good dad.
You mean Corey's dad.
You can see how Corey's like making his dad work out there.
Sure.
I'll never hear the end of that, I'll tell you.
He's retired now. Let him work a little bit.
Yeah, that's
put him to work.
That's funny.
Remember those remember those times when you were a kid? It's like, I'm going to get you back one day.
It's funny. It's good times.
What's your website?
Autoevents.com.
That's easy to remember. Autoevents.com for any information on the Dave and Ed's Super Swap Meets. So,
yes.
Rick, do you have anything else to add?
If you're looking for vendors, how do we do this? If you want to be a vendor?
You can always call the office Monday through Friday. Betty or Kristen will answer that and take care of you. The number is 330-477-8506. Or you can also email at info@superautoevents.com.
And what's the date on that again? The next one coming up?
The September date is September 17th through the 19th at the Canfield Fair Grounds. Then we have one coming up in Canton, which is also indoor outdoor at the Stark County Fairgrounds in Canton. And that's November 6th and 7th.
Which one's bigger?
Canfield.
Canfield's bigger.
Yes.
Now remember something too, because what's nice about going out to the swap meet is you've got these vendors coming out that actually will take pre-orders for tires, pre-orders for parts. That's what's nice to going about out there. It's like, if you got a list of parts, if you don't find some of your vintage parts out there, you've got a vendor out there you can order reproduction parts, and you can order your stuff right there. And I've done that with tires, and they're like, okay, I don't have them in stock here, but I'll give you a call, get them in. It's done. You don't have to go to their store or anything.
And that's where one of the parts pickup guys will come up right behind you put the tires in the golf cart for you, and golf cart you right out to your car.
Perfect.
Get the tires out.
That was
So,
my
I mean,
next
and
question.
that's
Like a
you know,
Grubhub or something, you know?
Yeah, there you
Yeah.
go. You know.
Just delivered to your car. That's good.
Yep.
That's good.
So remember, if you're listening to the Street Scene Power Hour podcast, David and Swap Meet is at the Canfield Fair Grounds the 17th and the 18th.
And 19th.
And the 19th. So, oh yeah. Sorry,
That's like-
I don't have my glasses on.
That's like
18th
it's
and
right around the
19th.
corner. It's right around the corner.
The Cant one's right after that. Am I correct on that?
Yes.
And that, so, you know, if you're listening to this, make sure you get out to David at Swap Meet 17th, 18th, and 19th at the Canfield Fairgrounds. And Corey, it's been a pleasure as always to have you.
Both you guys as well. Thank you. I really
Thanks,
appreciate,
Corey.
And we
really appreciate your guys' support on
And also Corey takes care of the Chili's over there in Boardman too. So
There it
he's
is,
the
see?
he's the big honcho there. So if you're over there
Thank
at
you.
Chili's, stop in and say hey to Corey.
Thank you.
And,
Yes.
and you know what? We're glad to have Corey. We had Bill Bomberger on from Newcastle Harley-Davidson. For Rick Herrera, Corey's
Dad,
Larry,
and Greg Roden. We'll
we'll
see
see
you
you
down the road.